Oh my goodness. Good, great, amazing day, everybody. My name is Suzaida Hippolito. I am one of the co-hosts of Elevate Your Energy Frequency. I'm here with my co-host, Aaron Saunders and Shanae Cotton. Say hi, guys.
Morning.
Well,
Good morning.
and there is a fourth person. What was that, Aaron?
I said, and good afternoon for those of you in the afternoon.
Yeah. And good evening, or some people might be sleeping. All right. We do have a fourth person, you guys. We have an incredible guest with us today. His name is Dan Mangena. He is a highly sought after international speaker and best-selling author, inviting the whole world to dream with their eyes open. And in this conscious conversation with all four of us today, we are going to talk about how to align with our dream life and align with the light. And I added this a little bit ago. We're going to talk about reality transurfing because I know from Shanae, I hear about reality transurfing, and I've seen Dan post reality transurfing. So it's this new thing, at least new to me. So we're going to talk about that. Welcome, Dan. Hello.
Hey. Thanks for having me, guys. This is exciting.
Yes, it is. I'm so excited, Dan, to jump right into it. So I want to get into a little bit more. Can we get into your backstory about and your journey through transformation into the Dan Mangena that you are today? And how did you come from where you were in the past and to be able to just freely start living the life and creating your reality and living out your passionate dream life?
It's a choice every day. And I feel that sometimes people lose sight of the fact that, I didn't arrive somewhere. It's a journey that continues to evolve, and it's choices that I continue to make on a daily basis. I still work with depression wanting to pop up now and then. I still work with imposter syndrome coming up now and then. I still work with paranoia wanting to come up now and then, and fears and doubts and anxieties. But the difference is that I'm resourced to deal with these challenges when they come up, and focused and committed to the life that I want to continue living. So anyone who's listening to this that maybe listened to that question was like, "Oh, right, now we're going to get the secret sauce." There isn't a secret sauce. There is not a secret sauce. There is a dedication to continue to show up daily, recognizing that as humans, it's never going to be all rosy and perfect. There's going to be contrast, there's going to be polarity, there are going to be things going on. So my journey has actually been one of resourcing myself and committing onward and onward and onward and onward and onwards to what I want to live, getting the right support and mentorship, getting the right guidance, and being able to look at circumstances and to take the gift from them, no matter how messy they look like. So for me, that's been dancing around suicide. It's been making and losing two multi-million-pound fortunes by the age of 24. It's been rebuilding my life from scratch. It's been following the breadcrumbs of the call to come and do this work when I had a successful business. Then when I resisted doing this work, losing that business pretty much overnight, and then doing my whole surrender experiment and just giving myself fully to what I do now. And then, it's, the journey doesn't stop. The stuff doesn't stop. I keep growing, keep learning, keep investing in myself. I had a coaching call with someone this morning. I did $172,000 on my personal development last year.
Wow. Yeah.
And I will continue to spend, this year I want to do 200, 250. Not that I'm just going to do that, but I'm always looking for what's something that's going to support me, what's something that's going to empower me, what's something that's going to continue to resource me to keep operating at higher and higher levels. And that's what I do.
I love that, Dan. And I mean, we know you talk about this concept of micro shifting, which I absolutely adore. And I know for myself personally, it's been a challenge for someone like me too, because I want everything, now, and want to take the quantum leaps, into the next thing. And I think a lot of people may feel like that as well. So what can we say to them for the people who don't quite know how to micro shift their way into success?
Micro shifting is essentially a couple of things merged together. One of them is baby steps, but it's baby steps with intentionality. And it's baby steps taken to the smallest degree of movement, something I call minimum deliverables. What a minimum deliverable essentially is asking myself, no matter how seemingly small and significant the move, what's one thing I know I can do without resistance? So a baby step is like a little step. A minimum deliverable is just, it could even just be that. I mean, an example I would love to give is a guy who came to me and said, look, I've got this business I want to start, but I find myself procrastinating. I don't know what to do. And the minimum deliverable I gave him at first was just to buy a journal. And he's like, what do you mean buy a journal? Just buy a journal. That's all that you have to do. That's a movement in the right direction. From there, I had him put it by his bed. From there, I had him just open it. Now, does this mean that he has to stop at this action and not go any further? No, he can go further. But by being intentional and deliberate and actually committing to a movement, he's actually building a new momentum, a new energetic momentum, a new mental momentum. And also what he's doing is evidencing to himself, if I set out to do something, I'm going to do it. So the narrative in his mind that, oh, I say I want to do something and I don't do it, starts to dissolve. The resistance to moving forward starts to dissolve. So minimum deliverables, having these really seemingly insignificant steps, there is no insignificant step if it's made in the direction of a consciously chosen outcome. There is none. And if I continue to stack those on top of each other, celebrating every step as if I'd finished the entire journey itself, then that gives me an energetic momentum. It gives me a mental resilience that gets developed. The neural pathways towards success get built as well. So there's a physical imprint. The chemicals and hormones associated with success that are generated when I celebrate it also supports me, so that when I go to take a quantum leap, it's no longer a quantum leap, it's a natural evolution. There's a magical compound effect that comes from microshifting.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. So, Dan, you're quite the abundance and wealth expert, and you have so much wisdom. I know how you feel around the word expert, but however, I would love for us to go into, like, you have so much wisdom to share around wealth creation and how it connects with aligning to the light with ease, grace, and flow. Could we go into more of that? I'd love to have a conversation about like what people should be focusing on most when it comes to wealth creation, and what a big role light and energy has in it.
The one thing, I mean, I just recorded an interview yesterday for a law of attraction summit. Like, it's got some people from The Secret, which is funny because I didn't even know I was going to be up with all these big wigs. It's like heroes whose books that I've read on my journey. It's like, oh, I'm on a summit with these guys. This is pretty cool.
Celebration.
That's amazing. Yes.
Oh, I just manifested that. That's cool. And the thing that I shared, one of the things I shared, like, you know, behind the scenes, don't tell anyone. One of the things I shared was, before you do anything, develop a relationship with yourself. There is no point stepping out to try and work out, you know, what's going to be, you know, because how I create wealth, how you, Erin, how you, society, how you guys and everyone creates wealth is going to differ. Now, the degree of difference may be different. There are people who are very similar to me, but there is no exact, because how I'm going to be most optimally aligned with how I create anything, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, or any, is going to be based on how I dance with reality. And how I dance with reality is going to be based with my perspective around reality, which is going to be based on my personal experience, my traumas, my wins, my losses. No two people look at the same thing and see exactly the same thing. So before doing anything, develop a conscious relationship with yourself and how you create, how you dance with the universe, how you dance with God. That's going to set you up for the win in two ways. Number one, you're going to know what your strengths are. And number two, you're going to know the areas where you are called to find support. When you know what your strengths are, then you can lean more into those. You can also use the overflow of those skills to trade with others and add more life to other people. Then when you know where your shortfalls are, you know where to seek support. When you know where to seek support, the resistance that represents, the slowdown that represents, gets dissolved. For some people, they are going to be more energetic in the way that they create. For some people, there's going to be more strategy with how they create. For some people, there's going to be more sweat equity with how they create. But unless all of these aspects are brought in, And unless we are fully supported with the shortfalls that we have in any one of these areas, we're going to struggle to create. So everything starts with light, because light is everything in different wavelengths. Where reality is light, right? We're looking at those wavelengths of light in different perspectives. That's why we've got different colors. Then we engage with that with different levels and different states of density, which is why these things feel differently. I can't feel the density of air. I just see the light of it, right? But it's still there. How I dance with it's different. Now, some people, they are juiced up. They've got command over their emotional state, which is the first point of contact with light and vibration. They've got command over like energy. Like you can see people that do energy healing and uplift the energy of a room. They've got that. But then when it comes to their mental resilience, they don't have it. So seeking support with that's going to help them. There are some people who have got the mental resilience, but they've got trauma or shadows that have been blasted into their light and are either blocking them off from accessing their light or giving them the illusion of their light being dimmed. So for them, getting support in terms of the network, the people that they associate with, what they're doing with their time, the practices that they engage with is going to either uplift or continue the same trajectory of where they're at with their light. There are those who don't really have access to their light at all. They've got the illusion of disconnect, or they don't really have a clear vision for what they want or the capacity to believe in their ability, but they are ready to work. Okay, we'll use that work to generate excess for you to be able to get the support with the light uplifting and with the mental resilience. So that's what I would say to anyone. Know yourself, know thyself. And once you know yourself, identify your strengths, go hard on those and use the overflow of that to support others. And then look to your shortfalls, those areas that can support, because you're going to bless someone by allowing them to come into your space and uplift you, just as you're going to bless others by taking your overflow into other people's lives. And that's how we as a people will continue to expand.
I love that, Dan. Every time I just got God bumps all over. It's so empowering. It's so empowering to just be able to accept ourselves as we are in whatever space that is, or whatever, vibration that is, or frequency, So there's this lovely saying that I love that you say, which is action is the most important and least important aspect of reality creation. Could we get into more of that? And I know it connects with the previous question, but could we kind of delve deep into what that means?
Action is the least important thing, because by the time that light becomes dense enough to be experienced as matter, it's already what it is. So if we look at the flow of thought into matter, by the time a thought has become a thing, it's already spent all of the time descending. It's like a burger is a burger, right? If I put the burger in a bun, it doesn't become a veggie burger. It's still meat.
It's still a burger.
Right? It's still a burger. So what people are doing is, when they're focusing on the action, is they're making the burger and they're saying, but why isn't this a delicious vegan meal? Why have I got real cheese and real meat? It's because you took a meat patty out of the freezer, you put that in the grill, and then that went into the burger. What we have to do is go to the beginning and actually pick the right thing out of the freezer. Let's pick the vegan veggie patty out. Let's cook that up and then put that in the burger. What's actually happening with many people is they don't understand that by the time we get to physical matter, 2/3 of the creation process is already done. By the time you're seeing it, you've already created it. And when we're focusing on that last step, we're going to face frustration because we're battling against what is. This is where control comes in. I want to control the outcome. Why control the outcome instead of just deliberately creating what you want in the first place? I have to turn the car right because I'm going the wrong way. Just go the right way in the first place. So it's the least important thing, because by the time we get to action, the creation's already done. Physical reality is where we receive what's already been created. It's the most important thing, because the act of receivership is the part that I see so many people miss out on. They do all of the work of setting things up, right? They get the vegan patty, veggie patty out of the freezer. They've got the gluten-free bun. They've got the delicious veggie stuff. They've got the vegan cheese. They've got all of the things. And then they put it on their plate and say, but I watched my mind movie. Why isn't it in my belly yet? In my vision board, I'm satiated and full. Why do I still feel hungry? And the whole time, the burger's in front of them, ready to be eaten, ready to be eaten. The starvation that we're suffering would be satiated by us just lifting up the burger and eating it. And that is why action is the most important thing, because without the process of actually reaching our hands out to receive, then we're not going to get to enjoy in physical reality that which we've done the work of creating in our mind and in our hearts.
Oh my God, amen. And there's this lovely analogy that you use. Could you go into it, Dan, about the firewall and the Netflix, and it's an actual press play on receiving what it is that we're trying to create? I mean,
This is good. I want to hear this. I haven't heard it. I already know it's going to be good.
This is a variation of the same concept of bringing everything forward to make things work, to create. So what I love to look at is that every single outcome of infinite potential is like a movie in the cloud. So if you use Netflix, like you've got Netflix, if you imagine you've got a cross-regional Netflix, you don't have to put on the VPN every single show or movie that you could want to watch. You don't have to go and check it on Amazon Prime. It's all on Netflix. But unless you actually know what film you want to watch, you press a random one, you're not necessarily going to enjoy it. You could end up by chance, oh, I actually quite like this random. I think Netflix has got a random function now. And you say, oh, put something random on. You might like it, you might not. But here's a really cool thing. We can select any movie. And if we know what movie that we want, then we can go through the process of actually selecting it. That's intention. Intention is knowing what movie I want to watch. The selection of the movie, however, is like when we go into the search function, we do that with emotion. Emotion is how we connect to the movies in the infinite Netflix of the cloud of infinite possibilities. Emotion is what connects us to it. That's what connects us to the frequency of it. Yes. So we can select the movie. However, if we have a firewall blocking that movie downloading onto our system, blocking it from buffering, we're not going to be able to stream it or save it to our device. If there's a firewall, it doesn't matter how clear I am on what movie it is. It doesn't matter how deeply I connect with the emotions and yeah, I know the movie and yeah, it's there. That's like when we close our eyes and we envision something and we're in meditation and we see it in the field and we feel, oh, this is so great. My body's healed. I'm with the love of my life. Like I'm abundant. I'm not broken, scarce. Then we open our eyes, but the firewall's still there. So it doesn't download onto the system. And the firewall is limiting beliefs. The mind is a gatekeeper to experience. Unless we believe something is possible, it's physically impossible for us to experience it because there is actually wiring in the brain that stops us translating those images into our reality. So we have to remove the firewall. Once the firewall is removed, it's on the system, it's buffered. I mean, I've got Netflix on my TV, like it streams it, like it's like you see it loading, like up to 100%, it's loaded. But I have to press play. It's all very well and good that I've selected the movie. I know what I want. I've read the reviews. I watched the trailer. Like I'm ready to get into this movie and have like I've got my popcorn and everything's good and blah, blah, blah. And I don't have a firewall. It's buffered, it's streamed, it's there. But unless I press play, I'm just as ridiculous as the person sitting starving in front of the vegan burger that they haven't lifted up to eat. I'm going to be hungry. We have to press play, and action is pressing play. Everything's already done by the time we get to the action piece. The movie's been selected. The movie's been downloaded. The firewall's been removed. It's there waiting for me to press play and then have the human experience of enjoying that which I've selected, downloaded, and pressed play on.
So I want to jump in with a question here. So I was just thinking about a client of mine, and she was telling me the other day that she has this idea of what business she wants to go into. She wants to go into coaching, and she has a specific thing that she wants to do. And she said when she thought of it, all of a sudden she's getting all these I'm not good enough and anxiety and all these feelings. Is that what you're talking about with the firewall? Is your own stuff that comes up around insecurities and things like that?
Well, yeah, because insecurities basically form part of the mental narrative. When we're talking about the belief, what we're talking about is the mental narratives that are dictating what we're able to have the capacity to experience. So let's look at the story that Greg Braden talks about. Now, whether this story is real or not doesn't matter. Let's just talk about the story, and it gives context to it. So the Spanish were sailing around the Americas, right? This is like before they'd done their dodgy colonization stuff. So they're sailing around, and they had to go ashore because they'd run out of supplies of some sort. They needed to come ashore. So they come off their big boats, they do the little rowy boats, they go ashore, and there was a shaman from the local tribe. Somehow he could speak Spanish. We're not going to go into that bit, but somehow they were able to communicate with each other. And he's like, "Where did you come from?" Blah blah blah. And they're like, "We're from this ship," and he couldn't see the ship. He couldn't see the ship because the ship was so far outside of his realm of belief. The reticular activating system in his brain shut down and filtered it out. Because the reticular activating system looks to what we deem possible for us to be able to see it. The same thing happens with opportunities. When we are hardwired, for example, that everything's hard, we'll see an easy opportunity come up into our reality. We won't be able to recognize it. We either won't see it at all, or we won't recognize it as an opportunity. We'll see it through the lens of limitation. So will we be able to take it? No, we won't. We've all seen the story about, the gorgeous girl who's got the nerdy friend who she sees as a best friend, but he'd really be the best thing for her. But she still keeps going out with the jerks. She's like, "Oh, I love you. You're such a great friend. Oh, everything I see in a man, but it's a shame that you're like a brother to me." No, that's her shutting down. Like the narrative of worthiness of scumbags basically holds her in relationship with these scum instead of being in the healthy relationship. Many people have had the opportunity to step into a business enterprise or go into business opportunity. They've not taken it up. Why? Oh, they've seen everything wrong with it. Oh, this and that, or they listen to people. I remember years ago, I had a client, my wealth management business, and we had this great fund that we managed to find for us, this trading house in the city that were doing fixed returns on a monthly basis. It was like 3% a month or whatever. And this person went to like bods who worked normal jobs, didn't have any investment experience, and they said, "You should be getting way much more money than that." It's like, dude, these are the same people that, if they've even got any savings, have got it in the bank, earning 2% a year in an ISA, and they're giving you advice about this. She ended up missing the boat on that opportunity. She missed the boat, wasn't able to take advantage of it. Her reticular activating system, her beliefs, the narratives that she's running on, had her going to seek counsel from people that she should not be seeking counsel from. Had she gone to an investment advisor or a lawyer who'd gone through and said, "Do you know what? There's something wrong with the paperwork, or this and that, and blah blah blah," or "These people haven't got a track record," or that's a different situation. But seeking counsel from people who are qualified to give it and those who are not, two different situations. So these are some examples of some of the ways that we do it. For everyone, it's going to be different, and we've all done it in some way, shape, or form. And we're all humans. At some point, we're going to do that. But these narratives end up dictating the choices that we make, which stop us from receiving if we see the opportunity in the first place.
I've got a question, Dan. At the beginning, when you were talking about your story, you mentioned that you went into a surrender experiment. I am so curious what that was like, and what was the catalyst for you to decide, I'm going to do a surrender experiment, and what did that all mean for you?
So this was just after I kind of made the leap into doing what I do now. I'd had this really funny Jonah and the whale experience where I was like, "No, I'm going to do it this way." And the universe is like, "But you kind of gave us permission to guide you on this, so this is the way it's going to happen." It's like I signed up for the full ride, so I got the full ride, which was interesting. But I just made the leap of giving up my home in the UK. I was in the middle of buying it. I said, "Okay, we're not going to buy it." I had my savings all together, emptied out the house and packed it all up to my brother's garage. I had one suitcase, one suit carrier on my backpack, and went off. I was off going around. And as I was off going around, what ended up happening was I got to a point where I was like, I need to strengthen up this trust thing, because there's a lot of trust going on, because I had no overarching plan. Like there was no plan. It's like, "Oh, I'm going to sell my services or whatever." No, I just wanted to share beyond intention with the world. And I was going hand in pocket in order to do that, flying around. I was doing free events in all different parts of the world. And, you know, so I was like, all right, cool. I had some breathing space. The relationship I was in at the time, she was like, I can't do this. I need to go to England and like get some settlement. So she went off to England. So I had like 2 months by myself where I didn't have to answer to anybody. I had complete freedom. I'd read The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I was like, fuck it, let's try this and see what happens. So it was literally just seeing, is this crap or is this real? And I was interested to see what would happen on the other side of it. And so what I did was, for those couple of months, I made 0 plans. I literally just waited for a sign or a synchronicity as to where I was going to go to next. I was like,
Wow.
getting, hey, come stay at my house. We want you to come and teach Beyond Intention in our town. Hey, we've just got together some people in a room. Hey, we're going to pay for you to fly here and come and teach Beyond Intention. I'd get like a sign to set up an event somewhere, and then it would fill out and like people would come, and that would just be what I needed in order to get there. And someone would be like, hey, I remember once I did this was one of the funniest ones. I went to 1440 Multiversity in California because I was doing an event in Northern California that weekend, and I stayed there one night, right? And then the next morning I went off to do my event, and I had no idea where I was going to be staying that night. I didn't know if I was going to be coming back to 1440. I didn't know if I was going to get another sign. I had no idea. There was just me, my suit carrier, my backpack, and my suitcase. And I went off. We delivered a kick-ass event. And then one of the co-facilitators for the event, who lived locally, was like, I'd love for you to come and like spend some time with me and my family. Would you be open to doing that? I was like, yeah, sure. So do you know, I can just come. And then one of the guys who was at the event gave me a lift there. And then they were like, so you know where you're going next? And I was like, I have no idea where I'm going next. All I know is like a week later, I had to be in San Diego. I had no plane booked. I had no train booked. I had no bus booked. I didn't know what was going to happen. And it just like I was there, and basically my friend Diane, who I was staying with, she's like, her son like fell in love with me. He's like, can Dan stay? Dan, would you be able to stay with us for a few more days?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, of course.
Literally.
And like I ended up spending like a lovely time with them and having home cooked meals, and they took me up to Santa Cruz Beach, and I got to see some cool things and meet new people. And then some friends were like, hey, can you come and stay with us? We want to just host you. You're close, like you're not too far. Can you get here? I was like, oh, cool. So then like I worked out how, because America's much bigger than England, and in England trains go everywhere. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a train.
Yeah.
And she was like, you can't just get a train. And where I thought they were like past San Francisco, up in Sonoma Valley, whatever.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah, that's far.
yeah, I was like, and I'm in I'm near San Jose right now. Like, all right, cool. This is going to be fun. We'll see how this works out. Anyway, then her friend calls her. It's like, hey, I really need to see you. Can you come up and see me? Like, have you got any space? And Diane's like, you're going to laugh about this. She goes, what? My friend's just asked me to come and see her. She's past San Francisco Beach up in Marin. So I'm going to be driving up to Marin.
Wow.
Do you want a lift?
Wow.
I was like, I guess I'm going to get a lift then.
Wow.
So I get the lift up. I get to take some video footage going over the San Francisco Bridge. I've never done that before. Get there. And then it turns out her friend asked her to meet her at the Starbucks right next to the station that has a direct train all the way up to the station that I needed to go to. I just needed to just cross the road.
Oh my goodness.
Get on the train and go. And it's just, it was stuff like that happened over and over and over and over again. There was like, I was in Toronto, and there was like some film festival, and then all of a sudden all of the Airbnbs shot up like 10 times the price because it's film festival. I was like, oh, that's interesting. We hadn't budgeted for that one. And then my friend Anita Morrow, who's the founder of the 1 Million Meditators movement, hits me up. She's like, Dan, you've got to come and visit us. I was like, oh, she does. Make sure you don't spend another penny paying for accommodation. You're going to come and stay with us. And like, I was like, all right, cool. Then I went to go and stay there.
Wow.
And it was just
Oh my
occurrence after occurrence
God.
after occurrence after occurrence
Yeah.
after occurrence like that.
Yeah.
And I came off the back
Were
of
you
that.
celebrating these great ones?
That's one of the things that brought me down to carbo. I ended up, the tail end of that was me ended up in carbo. That was when I had a conversation with someone at one of my events on one of these journeys that was like, hey, like, have you thought about going back to being abundant because you could do more? I decided to claim abundance, and 4 months later, I had a 6-figure coaching business. And since then, we've just been going from strength to strength. And that was the
about following the breadcrumbs. Were you celebrating the moment that
every single one? The money game got created as a part of that journey. So the money game actually got created as a part of that journey because I was setting intentions for what I needed to be able to basically go out and do what I had to do. So I developed the capacity to say, okay, this has to be taken care of. Let's write an intention and have it show up. And that's when the money game actually got created as well.
Wow, and the money game is powerful. I'd love to get into that in a little bit, but I want to shift gears a little bit, Dan. There's actually something that I love that you talk about as well, and it's kind of getting into reality transurfing concepts that we can get into. So another epic topic is this concept in reality transurfing of importance levels and how it can ruin your life. How can importance levels ruin your life, Dan? Can we go into it, and what can we do to decrease them for the best outcomes of our reality creation and aligning to life?
So importance levels comes from a concept in reality transurfing called balancing forces. And the oversimplified thing with that is the universe is in perfect balance at all times. At all times, the universe is in perfect balance. And every time we make a choice, the universe just comes in and balances things back out again. It's like our perfect partner in keeping an ecosystem of the exact tension that's required in order to keep the fiber of reality together. So what happens is that we impact the balance of forces in our life through what we say, what we do, and what we think. When I teach, for example, my concept of value vacuum, is what we're doing is we deliberately create an imbalance so that the universe automatically meets us and gives us what we want. That's what we do with that. But when we're unconscious, or when we impact in a way that sucks life, what ends up happening is life gets sucked from us. So when I go in and I've got an obsession with something happening, the reason why we obsess over something happening is because we don't believe it's going to happen. We don't obsess over the sun rising. We don't obsess over Amazon deliveries coming on time. We don't obsess over the world spinning, right? We don't obsess over there being snow in Antarctica. We know these things to be true. We're in our knowing about them. Because we're in our knowing about them, there's no energetic impact. We can just go with the flow of its manifestation. One of the things that I think sometimes people lose sight of is I think I need to really focus on it and really don't really need to do it. I just need to select it and then know it's going to happen, and then step into alignment with it and allow it to happen. Creation isn't this pushy, forcey thing, but when we push and force, generates from a place of fear. A truly rich man lays down not his pockets with gold. A powerful person doesn't have to say they're powerful. A lady doesn't have to call herself a lady. So what we're doing with importance levels is we're demonstrating that we are out of balance. Importance levels being increased is a manifestation of us being out of balance and out of alignment, and that will always be manifested in reality, the universe, or God basically putting things back into balance, but in alignment with where we're at. And if I'm in a place of lack, and that's what's informing my choice to throw things out of whack, then there's going to be a perfect manifestation of that lack. Ergo, my importance around something happening leads to it being just disillusioned because it throws everything out of whack and doesn't allow it to be manifested in my life.
And what is reality transurfing? What is this new thing?
Juicy.
Reality transurfing isn't even new. It's about, I think, about 20 years old right now.
Okay.
It's by a Russian. He's like a physicist. He's like this mysterious. Apparently, he's a physicist, but I think he's just plugged into other dimensions. He's called Vadim Zealand. And he wrote a series of books called Reality Transurfing 1 through 5, and another one. He's got a few books, but the main one is Reality Transurfing 1 through 5. Reality transurfing isn't just a way to create your reality, it's also a model for reality itself. So he looks at basic reality as this infinite primordial globe of information that he calls the space of variations, or the alternative space. And we're moving through snapshots that exist in the alternative space along something called a life track. So my life is a sum collection of these snapshots I'm moving through. And the snapshot that appears for me to move into next depends on what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I'm doing. The reason why I was drawn to it is because that's basically the flow funnel, basically. And the work that I've been doing is like someone that's, far ahead and also has on top of that a model for reality and really cool concepts such as importance levels and other stuff, pendulums, which is another really cool concept. So I'm a certified instructor. I specialize in the Tufti material, which is a particular branch of reality transurfing. I produce some videos for the YouTube channel that's endorsed by Vadim, and I'm also a moderator in their Facebook group.
Fascinating.
Well, I mean, that's a rabbit hole, right? I mean,
yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole. You can get lost. The book is like 800 or 900 pages long. It's like,
Wow.
it's not a little book. And it's like five books in one. It's like a very big book. But ultimately, we are creating our reality by selecting the slides that we're moving through, surfing the waves of the alternative space. That's what we're doing with reality transurfing.
Very beautiful. It's another tool that we can use for creating the reality that we want. That's so
and if it's aligned with you, it's badass.
What's that?
And if it's aligned with how you create, it's badass.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Erin.
It makes a lot of sense when you think of life as a perception through our own lens, right? And if we're looking at the lens, we're projecting an image of our life out into the world. And so that's kind of the parallel that I'm hearing with what you described to be.
Yeah, if you go into hologram theory, I mean, look, there's nothing new under the sun. All right. Before I'd even heard of Vadim Zealand, I'd created the flow funnel, I hadn't created anything. I was basically bringing together what I learned over the last 20 odd years, right? And putting it in my language. That's it. So people who understand my language or speak my language can create that way too. That's all that it is. Vadim was at the vanguard of this. Like I said, he's been doing this for like 20 years. He didn't wake up this morning and start doing it. But ultimately, there are people for whom this language works. There are concepts that you'll see in other places. In other places, you'll see concepts that mirror reality transurfing. When you look at the plate, which is a tool that we use in the Tufti, go to Kabbalah, you'll see there's the God braid. Visualization takes a new level here, but essentially there is a level of visualization. When we look at the alternative space, it's the field of infinite possibilities. Okay, great, right? So these are all concepts that have just got different names that have been brought together in a model that you can use to create. I love to invite people, instead of being caught up in these things, again, going back to know yourself. When you know yourself, what grooves with you, how you flow, then you can select the model that aligns with that and then create a life for yourself that you love.
I like that, Dan. Speaking of languages and demystifying, concepts that might be nebulous. So sometimes we talk about energy and manifestation in a very mystical way, where it might be kind of out there and nebulous as far as actually understanding how to apply it to our lives and demystifying it for better understanding and practice. So how can we demystify the mystical and bring more wealth and abundance into our lives and grace using form?
We can start by not being such assholes about it.
Stop not being such assholes with ourselves. That's so simple.
Why does it need to be this puffy, airy, fairy, fancy thing? Like, what is bring an intentionality to it. If I really am doing this to create my life, then the hoity-toity lingo doesn't need to come into it. I'm just going to go and create my life.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm creating my life, everybody, and I'm using this wonderful thing that I learned from the temples of India or whatever. And I'm just going to go on and do it. Just going to do it. And this isn't for everyone, but some people are operating from an unconsciously from a place of just wanting something else to talk about versus wanting to create something new. One of the Danism is the environment doesn't lie. The unconscious mind doesn't lose and the environment doesn't lie. You can look at the environment and look at what the regular results are. If the regular results are someone's actually doing something with their life, cool. And if they're not, then Okay, great. Who cares that they know the secrets of the universe? They can't pay their bills every month. Who cares if they've learned the latest yoga stance? They can't hold a relationship. Not that they can't hold a relationship and they don't want one. They want a relationship and they can't hold it. Right? So this isn't to speak down on people having challenge, because we've all got challenge. I know where my challenge areas are and I continue to work on them.
Mm-hmm.
But being in a place, for example, I've been through mystery schools. I've learned, all these kind of weird secret things and secret handshakes and all this stuff. The funniest point for me was when I just came off the back of like consciously choosing life for the first time. I remember the first time I consciously chose life. I was like, all those years I spent learning all of this crap. It's like the secret meaning of what was happening with the opening of the mouse ceremony in Egypt. That wasn't what kept me alive. that didn't help me when it came down to it. It's like to know the secret Masonic secrets of that didn't pay my bills. That didn't do anything. Like, I did plant ceremony and I saw the universe open up and envelop me. And yeah, what's going on with what's going on with your kids? Like, you haven't set aside any future for your kids, or you're not spending any time with them. What is the point? So I just invite people, like, there's a lot of sexiness out there. And I love the sexy. I'm all about the sexy. Like, I can astral travel and I can meet people's spirit guides for them. I can do past life. You don't hear me talking about any of that stuff. I use it when I'm supporting people sometimes, but I don't even say it. But I got my shit together. Right. So if I decided to take some time off now, not so much now because I've got, a little baby, but if last year, for example, I was like, I'm going to go and sit in the mountains of India for a year and just meditate, not being funny, but I paid my dues. Like, I'm going to come back and everything's still going to be working. So what are we really here to do as humans? Number one, like, do you know your purpose? Do you know your calling? Are you doing something towards that? All of this magical, fancy, puffy stuff, are you just wanting to learn something new and sexy? Or are you taking something that's actually going to support you moving towards your purpose and how you're showing up in the world? Yeah. Are you telling people all this fancy stuff to give something to them or to get some adoration and validation from them? Bring some intentionality to your relationship with the magic, and maybe it'll be more than just fancy, airy, fairy, puffy stuff that's not actually adding to your life.
I love that, Dan. Speaking of which, when we're talking about knowing ourselves and developing a relationship with our purpose, how can we begin to define and embody our purpose when sometimes we can start feeling off as being so separated from that purpose and surrounded by an environment that may not feel like it supports even living out any type of purpose in the first place?
I think purpose is a trap for most of the time.
Interesting.
Simon Sinek wrote that book, Start With Why.
Start with your why. Yeah.
And then he had to write another book, Find Your Why, because everyone got so caught up with this thing that they're supposed to be starting with, but they're not doing anything.
What's why? Right. I don't know where to find my why. How do I find my why? Right.
I've actually got a keynote speech that I give, in corporate environments called The Pointlessness of Purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Because purpose in and of itself means nothing. Oh, you know your purpose. Great. You spent the last 5 years in the jungle with shamans learning your purpose. And that's 5 years of your life that trickled by. What are you going to do now? Now, for some people, maybe that was the purpose for them to show up in human form, to go through this journey of finding a purpose, just to see what it's like to find a purpose. I don't know that. They probably won't know that. It's one of those things we're probably not going to learn at this level of consciousness. However, what I invite people to do is, instead of being caught up in my grand purpose, without which I can do nothing in my life, instead of that, I'm like, why not just tune into your heart and ask yourself, what does my soul have to say for what I am to add to the world today?
Wow.
That's it.
So simple.
Can you repeat that one more time, Dan, please, for emphasis?
What do I have today? What does my soul want to do today that's going to add to the life of others? Now, not everybody's going to have an expansive intention or expansive purpose, because polarity is some people's purpose. Manifesting into human form is to experience the other side of that. But I think the people that we're talking to are the ones that do want to add to the lives of others and are coming from an expansive place, right? That's the side of the polarity that they're here to witness. And so I always just ask myself this: what feels good and does no harm? That's it.
And does no harm.
When I feel lost, now I've got, my book, The Dreamer's Manifesto, is all about finding what I believe sits underneath purpose, like our actual soul's encoded reason for being here. That's what that book is all about. But once you have that, once you know what your macro is, then moment to moment, day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, what feels good and does no harm. And be open to that evolving and changing as you take on new experiences and learn new things and meet new people and get new insights. What feels good and does no harm, and not being married to that, not having this importance level. Oh, this is my thing. This is my thing of which I have come to experience. No, it's just like, okay, this is the thing right now, and that feels good. This is the place right now. This is the business right now. This is the opportunity right now. This is the relationship right now, which some people are scared of because they're attached to holding on to people. Oh, they beat me up. So what feels good and does no harm? What does my soul want to experience now that adds to the life of others?
That's
and play with that.
So simple.
And just play with that and see how it goes.
Yeah, I'd like to personally say to everyone, I have read all of Dan's books, and they're magnificent. So check them out. Dreamer's Manifesto. There's also, what are your other books, Dan? There's The Money Game.
Money Game, yeah, which we've just finished a new edit of. We're doing a little re-edit for 2021. And Stepping Beyond Intention, which is my signature book.
Oh, that's a proper book. So check it out. And how can they find this? Your website, right?
Yeah, dreamwithdan.com. There's like the books page along the top that's got all the books, and even books that I've featured in. I'm in a book with one of my mentors, Greg Reed, called The Proximity of Purpose. This year, I'm in a book with Jack Canfield called Successonomics, which I'm looking forward to sharing with the world later this year. And my principal books, my own books, are there too.
Fantastic. Well, we have somebody who just popped up on the screen. We have Janet. Yes, do what makes you so happy. So, I mean, This is a good opportunity to, we'll put that in the chat, the link to find, Dan's work so you can follow him. But if we can see anyone, if we have any questions, we can open this up. Ladies, if you don't have anything to ask, we can open it up to our audience.
I don't see any questions coming through. If you guys have questions, pop it in the chat. To be honest, I'm taking in what Dan said about purpose, and pretty much what, like, one of the takeaways I'm experiencing is keep it simple. Keep it simple, keep it humble, focus on what's right in front of you. Focus on what's right in front of you, and just connect and learn how to play and dance, open, give, and receive with the ways of the universe, with the ways of life.
Look, complication is the enemy of progress. Like, if we're spending all our time working out what's here, by the time we finish doing that, it's already in the past. So we're actually focusing on memories. Then we're not present enough to create our future.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, that's so good. Then we're not present enough to create our future. That's so true. That is so
when
true.
We're not consciously present, everything's coming from our unconscious. And if you're happy with what your unconscious is producing, cool. But if you were happy with what your unconscious was producing, then you probably wouldn't even be looking at manifesting anyway. You'd be busy enjoying the life that your unconscious was producing. So rather than being so caught up in the latest thing and blah, 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 be present enough to experience what's happening, witness it, consciously choose, okay, I'm going in that direction, that one's not for me. I'm going in that direction, that one's not for me. Then you can be a conscious creator of your reality. Otherwise, you're just a historian of your own timeline that's so caught up in their books, they're not present to see what you're going to be studying in the future isn't probably something that you even want so much.
One of my great mentors talks about consciously choosing consistently.
Oh, yeah.
It's adding that consistent piece.
It's a big one.
Consistency, yeah. I don't see any questions coming through. Erin, do you have anything?
I was just thinking about when thinking about goals and your intentions, you know, that feeling of excitement. I don't know. I guess I was just thinking about, like, if you don't have that feeling of excitement, the goal's not big enough. So I don't know. It's just that thing about keeping it simple, but also making it something that excites you, when you think about your goals and visions. What do you think about that, Dan?
I think if it's really yours, you won't have to make yourself excited. It's going to be the natural byproduct of you being in flow with what's yours.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I don't have to get excited about what I do every day. I wake up excited about it already. It's natural.
Yes.
So that's actually a clue. Excitement is the clue.
That is a clue.
Passion is the clue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like not having to convince yourself, right? Like I'm excited or get yourself, like it just naturally.
I'm stoked up to do this. Yeah. Really?
See, and I love that. To me, that's like a big part of life's purpose. Is like waking up excited, waking up happy, waking up pursuing that which like excites you.
Yes, you're tuned into your purpose and your passion when you feel excited every day.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Dan, there are certain things that we can do to facilitate that excitement, right? Not to just like it's there, but we can actually elevate it, right? Like things
awareness.
like
just conscious awareness.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, someone's giving me a hand massage, right? If my attention is on my foot and I've got all my attention on my foot and I'm not present for the hand massage, it doesn't matter how lovely the hand feels because the focus on my foot, which may be in pain. If I shift my focus to here, I don't have to do anything. I'm just aware of it, something that's there already. Because if we look at it, everything's here and now, including the excitement, which is the signpost, the breadcrumb, right? The synchronicity, the sign to where my groove is. So if I'm just aware, oh, look at that. That feels good. That feels really good. I'm just present to the experience that was waiting for me to come in and be present to the experience versus me having to elicit it or like, oh, what is the secret hack to feeling just be aware. Think and feel with awareness. Be conscious. Take an audit of what's going on with your life. What things do you not enjoy? Go consciously through the aspects of your life and then say, does this groove with me? Yes or no? Drop the stuff that doesn't and do more of the stuff that does.
This brings me to something. So Dan, bringing conscious awareness, I know you've said often, if you're procrastinating or you're not doing something, that means that you don't want to do it, right? However, what about that line that we dance with of pushing our limits but not our buttons? So that discomfort that we have, like we don't necessarily want to do it, but that's going to be the thing, the breakthrough that's going to take us to the next level. And consciously, we maybe in the moment don't do it, but then what if that's like the next step going to take us to the next level?
Again, it comes back to knowing yourself. If I know myself, if I know myself, I know when I'm procrastinating because I'm facing resistance, I'm procrastinating because I'm not in alignment with it. I can ease into movement with it, asking myself where I'm coming from, taking a pause to have that conscious relationship to it and myself. So let's say, for example, like there's like one of my businesses, there's like some copy that's got to be written for like one of the web pages. All right. It hasn't been done. It's on my list for Monday. I already know I don't want to do it. It's not that I'm not aligned with it. I don't enjoy doing that stuff. Yes. So my action, the micro shift, is going to be hiring someone to do it for me. That's what it's going to be, right? When we look at stuff like I want to do a remap of a particular membership area and another one of my businesses or whatever, like I just haven't had the time to sit and do it. That's all. It's not even that there's resistance to making the time to sit down and do it. I'm gonna have to do this. It's a bit of a ball ache. It still needs to be done because nobody else can do it. So I'm going to micro shift into doing it. I've already done some brainstorming. I've made it easier for me to actually take the steps to complete the task. But I know that these things are called for me to do. I just don't have the best relationship with the things that need to be done. But that comes from me knowing myself. Some people would have this and be, oh, this is my soul telling me that I'm not supposed to do it. Bro, you don't know your soul. You haven't spent any time with it. You're making these comments without actually having like that relationship with yourself. So all of this starts with having the relationship with yourself to be conscious enough to know where is this coming from, and from there I can make a choice about the step forward.
Know thyself.
Know thyself. Does anyone know the Latin for that?
Know
Well,
thyself.
know thyself.
From
What
the
did
main-
you say, Dan?
There's a Latin for it.
Oh.
Know thyself.
Yeah, I have it written down somewhere, but it's in the Matrix. It's like above when she's
Yeah, that's what I just remember.
vertical. I think it's like
Yeah.
non or something.
Yeah.
But yes, know thyself.
Know
That's-
thyself. Such juicy nuggets of wisdom and experiences and insights and tools and new information. Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, guys. This has been fun.
Yeah, I love these conscious conversations where we can just come on and have conscious conversations about, all things reality creating and abundance building and, sometimes just the real shit that goes on in life, So from the perspective of you, Dan, and our different speakers, so we just really thank you for being here with us. And yeah, who knows when next time will be. We'll definitely probably have you back on.
Yeah.
I'd love to come back.
Boulders is I've been calling them. So with
Thank
that,
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's been fun just to be in the energy of all of you today. So it's great meeting you today.
It's amazing.
all right, everyone. So Conscious Conversations, catch us. We usually have them weekly on Wednesdays or Thursdays, usually midweek, but we change it up. So yeah, stay tuned in our group. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have our masterclass coming up on Saturday. What time is it, Suzaida?
It is at 11 a.m. Pacific, 90 minutes, so until 12:30 Pacific. And there's a post in our Facebook community, so be sure to sign up, you guys. It was, it's our Soul Alchemy Masterclass, and we're going to work through igniting your soul purpose and your passion, tuning into your heart's wisdom and body intelligence, or heart intelligence, body wisdom, and transmuting disempowering emotions into love and light. So we're going to pick up some really powerful tools that kind of dovetails into what we've been talking about here, about aligning, to what life is supposed to be about for you, your dream life.
Yes.
So yeah, it all goes together. I love it.
And again, you guys can find Dan at his website, dreamwithdan.com, and we're going to put it in the chat for you so you guys can follow him. He has so many goodies and read all of his books. It's life-changing. So thanks so much, Dan. Love you so much, and I love you, girls. Until next time, everyone, have a fantastic rest of the day.
Bye.